So we have another speaker coming up on stage right now, a lady who's going to talk to us about empowering the future of data analytics using the blockchain. So Michelle Yeo is the co-founder of DATAVLT, a blockchain data analytics platform delivering affordable business intelligence to businesses. She's also a senior consultant at QED Consulting, a digital management consulting firm, and has over 10 years of experience in senior management teams around the world. So welcome, Michelle.
Okay. Wow, it's really bright. Okay, how are we doing? All right. So first, I have to thank the previous speaker for introducing advertising, consumers, because there's a lot of stuff that I'll be covering on that as well, simply because it's data analytics, right? Okay, to start off, I want to give you a little bit of a context to how much we've developed over the few hundred years we've been around. Okay. Ooh, it's not. Okay. So we're here. So, does anybody know when papyrus or paper was actually invented? Anyone? Anyone? You guys use paper, right? Still? Huh? No, not where. When? When? 100 BC. Did I hear that? 100 BC? About there. Yes. Okay. And then it took a couple of hundred years again to do the press, the print press, the Gutenberg press. Do you know when was that? No? Any more? Yeah, 1440s. Yay. Okay. So it took us another couple of hundred years to do the telephone. Now, why am I bringing this up? And you go, well, what's it got to do with blockchain? What's it got to do with data analytics? One thing you need to really understand is that we have a desire to share. We want to communicate. And that's what we always want to be able to do. And a lot of the data that we do today actually tracks that, or is related to that, or is supposedly, helping to do that. Now, what I want to be able to focus on is actually this part, right? We have the Industrial Revolution, great on us, yay. And then after that, the 1900s, right up to 1990, we have our first search engine, 92, first smartphone, and then everything exploded after that. It's less than 40 years, and we've got so much data, we've created so much, right? And users have also created so much. Who remembers what Alta Vista is? Hey, you guys are laughing, and you show your age, right? So, and some of the brands up here are not even around anymore. So, that is a reality, right? Today, I mean, you guys have followed this, right? The one thing that it took away from this whole thing is that there is a lot of competition out there. And it's true. What the digital era has given us is access, right? And connectivity. It's not just a one-way connection anymore. I don't just tell you that my washing powder washes white and I buy it. You'll probably ask why. And then there's that communication that happens. That's data, right? And so analysis, collection, and all that is already a huge part of everyday life. In case you don't know, I'm sure you do. That's how Google actually target ads at you. If you go to any of the sales platforms, marketplaces like Lazada, Amazon, that's how they target you, because you know exactly what you want, and they then find out, oh, she knows what she wants. She has been shopping for this for the last 3 weeks. And this happened to a friend of mine, right, who opened his laptop at work and found out that when he opened his browser, the first thing he saw was a pair of lingerie. And his boss said, why are you shopping for lingerie during work hours? What the hell are you doing? It's like, oh, I think it's my wife, right? So essentially that. But, when your wife uses your laptop, they remember what you want to shop for. They don't know. They can't decipher who you are. That is becoming more sophisticated, okay? And so when we're looking at this, you need to understand that data actually drives communication strategies, right? The largest search engine global market share is Google at 77%. Now, if you're not using Google, my question is why? Because they would be the ones who would know your consumers better, they target better, and a lot of people are using it. But because a lot of people are using it, that's why they get better at it. And this is the one thing. You go, well, the second point is really not a big deal. It is a big deal. 60% of consumers can't tell the difference or differentiate a Google ad. What I want to be able to highlight to you is about the desensitization visually when you look at a piece of ad, right? We used to be able to differentiate and say, oh, this is an ad, this is an advertorial, this is a piece of article, so on and so forth. But the way that Google has done it has been embedded, so insidiously in the layout, the way they put it out, that you don't recognize it as an ad. And that is where the consumer is at today, okay? Social media management, MarTech, new sort of like buzzword, marketing technology stack, they want to call it, but it's essentially tools that marketing companies would want to be able to use. Social media management, search management, and then there is marketing automation, like your emails, and replies and responses or chatbots and stuff like that, right? And then we talk about data tsunami. We're talking about the IoTs. You've seen people look at their phone, messages rolling, some of them talking like hello, no longer is your mobile phone necessary. You can talk to your watch. And with this, it's an explosion of information that's coming out when you use, when you're called, who's calling you, what did you look at? Did you look at WhatsApp? Did you look at Telegram? Did you essentially then look at something else? Did you look at your Fitbit? How much did you run or walk today? Are you really in the good, range or in the bad range of your heartbeat? Stuff like that. It's all information, it's all data, and it all belongs to consumers. All right, what does this mean? It means that a lot of the habits and the way people live their life is changing. And it's not like, oh, only the millennials will change, I won't change. That's not true. How many of you actually don't have a mobile phone at the moment? And take a guess, an average. How many times do you touch your mobile phone without even knowing it? Like, just to touch it, and like, just, oh, nobody called me. It's okay. Oh, somebody messaged me. Oh, yeah. How many times? Do you know? Average. Global average. 4,000. 127. 127 times. You do your work. You drink your coffee. All you do is this. And then you do this. You put it there. And then you look at it again. And then you put it down. And then that's it. It's always this, right? This is also data. So we come to a realization that the world would be coming to a stage where hyper-personalization will come to fruition. It will come true. But what does it mean, right? We talk about hyper-personalization, and the consumers would also want to have an O2O experience. What does that mean? Online to offline, offline to online. If you deliver a great experience online, you'll pretty much need to be able to do that offline. So here's my question. Without enough data, understanding what your consumers like, dislike, want, or don't want, how are you going to deliver that on-ground experience to them? All right? And then maintaining the the perception of all access, which means it's the age of me. I want to be able to see what I want. You should be able to give me access to what I want. And if you don't give it to me, means you don't value me as a customer or a potential customer. That's a reality. And all this, sentiments, likes, dislikes, it's all about data. It's all tracked in what you guys use today. And this is what they want, this whole hyper-personalization. We're moving into an age where we cannot deny it, all right? And this is, I'll give you a quick overview, how blockchain will be able to help us move into that era. All right, so right now, when you talk about data analytics, what they really look at is demographics, right? Your age, where you live, essentially, are you this type of a person, that type of person, where are you at, where are you geolocated, so on and so forth. Now, the next thing that they're moving into, which is a harder set of data that they would look into, is psychographics. What do you like? What do you not like? Why do you not like? Why do you buy for certain occasions? And why do you not buy for certain occasions? And the most difficult thing to do is this, correlation, right? That's like the voodoo black magic in data analytics. And the big companies outside, like your Lego, like your Coca-Cola, your P&Gs, your Unilevers, your McDonald's, they've been doing correlation for a really long time. Let me give you an example. So remember when there was a whole entire debacle whereby people were saying that I'm getting fat because I'm eating McDonald's 24/7. Yeah, right, you eat every single day. You eat McDonald's and you don't think you'll get fat, right? So then, here's the thing. They decided, I'm going to launch salads. And they understand the psychology or the psychographic of people who would eat fast food because it's easy, it's tasty, it's good. So essentially, if I were to launch something healthy, integrity-wise, I'll give it to them, they'll say, yeah, they'll come and buy a salad from McDonald's. So they launched the salad range. Did it sell very well? No. What they learned was that when a person queues up and they say, I'll have a salad. No, I'll have a Big Mac instead. So for the months that they launched the salad, instead of selling a whole lot of salad, they sold a whole lot of Big Mac. So that drove a whole lot of sales, and this is a whole load of data again. And it goes into the psyche of the consumers and how they buy things. So this is where psychographic comes in. And then they started to make the correlation, right? Now, all of this is all very manual. If you were to have the guys to churn out data, to pull stuff in, it'll take months and days for any business analyst, intelligence analyst, data analyst to go through all that information. Your big companies will be able to afford that because they would be able to afford resources, capability, infrastructure, engineers, that's fine. But what about the smaller businesses? They won't be able to do that. And so, that's why what we're saying today is that with this piece of technology called blockchain, we should be able to change quite a few things. We should not be able to say, you're a smaller business. You don't need data analytics. You can't afford it. We shouldn't do that. We should be able to have access for all, right? This is what we want. So essentially, blockchain should be able to secure data. It should be able to track. It drives accountability, trackability, and it cuts a lot of processes. The whole idea of smart contracts is brilliant. That's essentially what can be done. Now, right now, at this stage, we may not be there yet, but it doesn't mean we can't get there. The other part about blockchain and how it can work to this advantage is the whole enhanced encryption. We can then talk about data segmentation, giving people data that is not sensitive, and we're talking about GDPR, PDPC, right? How are we going to, right now with traditional companies, even Facebook, when you talk about sharing your data, you share about how you look like, where you live, who your friends are. How would you then segment that if you were an agency, a company who want to be able to share data with your partners? Traditionally, you'd tell the BI, the poor guy there, and say, the report you gave me, great. Can you cut it into 10 different ways? And I need it tomorrow morning at 9. And it's maybe 5 o'clock in the evening. That doesn't work out. Your guy would be staying there 24/7, and he won't be able to finish the work that he needs to do. That's in a very traditional sense. And if you're talking about engines, your engineer would have to cut it 10 different ways. Has it been set that way? Maybe not. All right? So, at the end of the day, we need to protect us, our private data. We want to be able to ensure that we don't compromise our privacy and the way we live today, or at least safety as we know it. I'm going to move on and show you a clip. Some of you might know what this is. And the next question I'll ask is, which year do you think this movie came out?
A road diverges in the desert. Lexus. The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled. Make sure you are on time.
Good evening, John.
You can move the old-fashioned
John Anderton.
Century 21 styles
Provides gourmet cuisine.
John Anderton! You could use a Guinness right about now.
Stressed out, John Anderton.
Escape from it all, Harrison. Get away, John Anderton. Forget your troubles. What's so, John Anderton?
Hello, Mr. Yakamoto. Welcome back to the Gap. How those assorted tank tops work out for you?
Mr. Yakamoto.
Hey, Miss Balfour, did you come back for another pair of those chamois lace-ups?
Okay. Which film is this? Got it. Which year? 2002. So, this was, what, 16 years back, right? And the producer of this film and the director, Steven Spielberg. So what he did for this piece of film, the research that he did, was that about 3 years ahead of time, he had a small sort of like conference and meeting with, I think, about 12 of the world's leading technologists, futurists, and engineers, you know, to essentially guess what the future looks like. And this is 16 years back. And they've already talked about hyper-personalization. What makes you think that we're not tracking in this direction? Now, if we're tracking in this direction, right, and if we don't help ourselves with data and being able to democratize data at some point, a lot of your smaller independent businesses will all disappear, right? And these are some of the challenges that enterprises will face. Affordability, capability, security, and scalability. I think it's already happening right now. I mean, unfortunately, in Asia, I mean, in Singapore itself, where I'm from, we see a 15 to 20% dip in just 1 year. SMEs dropping off because they can't afford to keep up, or they don't know where to get the data from, or how to do it. And so, I think I only have a few minutes more. So what I'm going to do is leave you some factors that will drive our digital transformation, evolution, if you want to call it. One, we can't ignore the fact that we need to do data analytics, right? We need to understand who our consumers are simply because we use it every day. That's how we access the internet. That's how we get to things today. The brick and mortar doesn't really work on its own. It has to be worked in with the digital cycle. Two, IoT will drive everything to the edge, like literally bonkers, right? And the edge, there's another thing to it. We talk about edge computing. People are looking into it right now, and it probably will come to fruition soon. Fast, furious 5G, need not to say more, okay? And digital transformation will be mandatory. For those who don't, they might cease to exist. 2-3 years tops, I'll give it. Artificial intelligence will be a mainstream, and at the end, blockchain will definitely find its way into mainstream, all right? So that's all the time I have today. Thank you very much. If you have any questions at all? I have 2 minutes, I think. No, 1 minute. Nothing? Well, if I'm walking around, you can come ask me. Okay, great. Thank you very much.